I'm Tom Vasel.
Z Garcia, hello!
Sam Healy, what's up, you guys and gals
This
and children
This is one of our top 10 lists
and people?
that's not about games. We are going to be, we do these every once in a while, and this is one of our Kickstarter stretch goals. So if you're looking for games, go check out one of our top 10 lists about games because we've done a lot of them. So this time we're going to be talking about villains, our favorite villains, and this is from books, from... Oh man, I just realized...
Books, movies, comics.
Books, movies, and comics, but I just realized I did not include video games.
Favorite villains?
I guess video games. What a video? I mean, what? Like Bowser?
These are not
Get
really
outta
my
here.
favorite villains.
No, I would...
Top 10, like...
Yeah.
These
kind
are
of
the
villains, right?
these are the baddie villains.
Sure, okay, yeah.
The top 10 villains type thing.
Okay, yeah.
I like the villains. I mean, I myself picked villains that I thought there was something captivating about them. Either it's a movie and I like watching that villain on screen, something like that.
Yeah, a villain that,
Right.
that you think gives a hero a worthy challenge.
There you go.
I bet we have at least one that's on all three lists.
I'm going to say we have...
No way, because I only have one I think that will be on both your lists. So,
Okay, fine. We have at least one.
all right. Well, we're going to get started right into this. Here we go.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a I don't know, maybe an unlikely villain. It's kind of a weird, it's not a, I don't know, definitely a villain in my eyes. Her name is Annie Wilkes from Misery.
Really?
Oh my goodness.
No, I know she's a villain. I just didn't think she'd make your list.
Oh, man.
Yes.
And this is where this is where my list is kind of, these were the baddies.
Yes.
I don't really like them, but they are definitely evil.
Terrifying person.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Yes, yes.
And this lady embodies that whole idea of I don't want to ever meet that person ever.
Right.
So I don't even want them living next to me, or even
you
in the
definitely
same
don't want them living next
neighborhood,
to you.
or anything like that. Just that.
We should pause here for a moment and say
Okay.
we're going to have complete spoilers in this list. Sorry. So
Okay. Yes.
just be forewarned. There's spoilers here.
Yes. Breaking a guy's ankles
Whoa,
because
spoilers,
you
what?
love him so much
What?
and because you care about him so much does not make
No,
any
she didn't care about him.
sense.
She only cared about his book.
That's
I
true.
ain't never writing a novel.
That is true. Watching this movie, I didn't ever read the book because I didn't have a desire to read it after I watched the movie, and I know that's probably backwards.
Oh, in the book, she's a good girl.
I'm sure, yeah.
Anyhow.
I'm sure. But anyway, Annie Wilkes, my number 10 from Misery.
That is a good one.
My number 10 is from the Doctor Who series, and that is the Master. Doctor Who fights a lot of powerful aliens, the Daleks and the Cybermen and all that, but he's way smarter than all of them, they're just more powerful, so he just, tricks them. The Master's probably as smart as the Doctor, and I like that. They kind of go at each other. He's the one, he's only been in a few of the episodes that I've seen, but in those he just brings across this whole, oh, you're a Time Lord? I'm a Time Lord too. And then just manages to take over Earth. Yes, I know these guys have not watched Doctor Who, but I don't care because
What's up,
many
Time
of you
Lord?
have. So the Master is my number 10.
Time diggity dog.
You a Time Lord?
Just
I'm a Time Lord.
I
y'all.
hate you both.
My number 10 is from Conan the Barbarian.
Thulsa
Doom. That is power. I love him, bro. He's like,
Come here, my child.
yes.
Come here, my child.
James Earl Jones,
Oh, my
Thulsa
goodness.
Doom.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
So commanding, right? And most of my villains are very, there's almost like a charisma to them. And Thulsa Doom definitely has that. He's a very powerful character, but very snake-like, no pun intended, and very charming, So, my number 10, Thulsa Doom.
Number 9.
My number 9 is from a book. Well, he's been in TV shows too. In fact, he's been in movies because his now public domain, Sherlock Holmes, and that is Professor Moriarty. Sherlock Holmes, again, he's just smarter than everyone in the world except for Professor Moriarty. And I like that. Now, I don't like him as much in the movie that came out recently. Those movies are not as Sherlock Holmesy for me. They're more action movies.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
But in the books, he killed Sherlock Holmes. Well, they killed each other.
Dude, spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah, whatever.
Never going to read those
That
books.
the new one? Is that the one that just came out? That's the new book?
I believe that came out
Stupid
a
books.
century ago. Anyhow, Really enjoy. I like seeing a villain give the hero a match for wits, as you can see, and so that's Professor Moriarty, my number 9.
All right, my number 9 is the only one. Maybe not. I guess not. But it's sort of the silliest one of all of them. But I again sort of relish this person's evil wickedness, and this is Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Mr. Burns is just so, it's like good you can enjoy. It's like a delectable treat to watch him be mean and do the whole release the hounds and all this stuff. It's just, I love it.
The trapdoor in his office.
The trapdoor and all these things, manipulating the employees and all that stuff. Obviously much sillier, lighter villain for lack of a better term, but I knew I wanted to put him on the list. So Mr. Burns from The Simpsons is my number 9.
All right, my number 9 is, embodied by a certain character in the movies, but there's definitely an overarching umbrella. So I'm going to say my number 9 is the Terminators or Skynet at large.
Okay.
Those are, just having a bunch of machines that are, I guess you could, not really sentient because they're actually being controlled by the Skynet, but having Skynet, which is the actual sentient part of it, controlling all of these things and coming after you, that's the stuff of nightmares for me.
Nightmare
so,
juice.
That's exactly what it is. And I remember all the way back watching the very original, the most original version of it with, the original one, where and I can remember watching it and just being, this guy just does not stop coming.
Right.
You're squishing him. You're tearing off you're shooting him in the face with the shotgun. You hit him with a rocket launcher. He's still coming after you. All of this, that's evil, evil, evil. Bad stuff, juicy, nasty. Don't like it.
Number 8.
All right, my number 8 is probably the darkest, the scariest villain in all of my choices here. One of the most disturbing ones for sure, and this is from a movie called Seven, and this is a character simply called John Doe.
John Doe.
They just call him John Doe in the movie. And so that reaction that mention God, that's pretty much what you're going to be feeling in this movie. Yeah. Again, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert.
Don't.
But
seriously, don't watch movies. I regret it.
This is played by Kevin Spacey in one of the very best turns I think he's ever done, and it's very terrifying. And it always makes us ask,
I don't think I even want to meet Kevin Spacey.
what's in the box?
Yes, that's true. That has come up because of...
What's in the box? So that's my number 8. John Doe, Kevin Spacey's character in
watching that
7.
movie.
Really disturbing, but
I'm glad that's your worst. I'm glad that we can now come down from there. All right, what do
it's
you
all
got?
fluffy kitties from here on out.
Mine number 8 compared to that is, peaches and cream. But Smog is my number 8 villain. Just, again, maybe it's just a thing with animals and robots and just having an evil presence there. But I really kind of debated against, this person's not on my list, but Ultron and Smog, they're kind of the same thing for me because they're both really, really evil. But at the same time, you kind of, I don't know. It's just,
I don't know what you mean at all.
I know. I'm having a hard time wrapping it up into words. Smog, on the one hand, he's a dragon. Dragons are bad dudes. But he rightfully took all that stuff.
He did not rightfully took all that stuff.
He had
Quiet, you hobbit.
all of his gold. And these stupid little dwarves are going to come back and try to take it back. He had some justification there.
That's right.
But at the same time, he did also nuke an entire village.
Yes.
And so, he's definitely the baddie.
Yes.
And
so you're fine, he's kind of charming you a little bit.
I can see where...
You kind of want to work for him a little bit.
No, I don't, actually. I don't. I'm done.
Come on.
I'm done. But Smog's my number 8. A very definite bad guy.
My number 8 is actually more of an obscure one from... It's Mr. Dark. Mr. Dark is from Something Wicked This Way Comes, which is a book
It's a very
made into a movie.
original name.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, I wonder if this guy's the villain. No, but he comes to town and he has tattoos and he's dark and he's like to suck all the joy out. Creepy as all get out. I mean, because he's going up against kids, you know.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie or
read the book.
the book. The book is like, you put it down, you're like, okay, let's go look at some flowers. You know, you need something to kind of refresh that. He's just super creepy. I almost want to say he's almost the inspiration maybe for It or Pennywise the Clown type thing. It's that same kind of thing.
Right.
Like, oh, you're happy? I'll take care of that type situation. So Mr. Dark.
Number 7.
My number 7 is my one character. This is kind of a spoiler, but whatever. My one character from Star Wars. I'm sure there will be others, but probably not this one. This is my favorite, and that's General Grievous from
Really?
Episode 3.
Really?
And I just really like General Grievous because I like that. I like the cool, just the childish cool factor of him, being sort of like a robot with like a bug in a robot suit with a bunch of arms. I just like that. But I also like the frailty of that character. Just like I like heroes that are fallible, that can be brought down. I like villains that are susceptible to whatever influence is going to mess with them, And so I found that captivating. I found the fact that he's coughing up a storm and kind of weak, captivating, especially when he flips that and, busts out a bunch of lightsabers and goes to town. Mm-hmm. That was very, appealing to me. I like that character. And so that's my favorite villain from the Star Wars canon, I guess, is General Grievous. That's my number 7 choice.
All right, my number 7 choice is based on the comic book, not upon the movie. Although I thought it was okay in the movie, it's just much better in the comic, and that's Apocalypse. I like different bad guys, Mr. Sinister, the Joker, and all these different characters. I think they're cool bad guys. But when it comes to in the Marvel universe, especially, Apocalypse is the king of the bad guys. Yes, there's Thanos and all that jazz, but Apocalypse, especially in Age of Apocalypse. Oh, what a great series where he just
Was Apocalypse in a movie?
Yeah, that's the one that just came out.
Which
the
one?
X-Men movie.
Okay, that's who. Okay, got
Age
it.
of Apocalypse.
Age of Apocalypse.
Now I know who you mean. I have not put those two together.
Anyhow,
Now I know.
the movie, he's okay. I mean, he's fierce in the movie, but he's kind of like, at the same time, there's not a lot of motivation and stuff.
Sure.
In the comics, he came out, he was the X-Men's worst villain. He is still the X-Men's worst villain, to the point where Magneto is helping them fight against him a lot. So
Got it.
I just really like him. He's extremely powerful, able to be taken down, but it takes pretty much everybody. Sometimes you just want to watch that one guy who's like, I just don't care. I'm going to destroy you all. Apocalypse.
Wow. All right. Well, my number 7 is going back to my middle school, high school, or early high school, definitely middle school years, because I remember watching this movie and the very first installment of it, and this guy did not allow me to sleep for 3 days because I was afraid that I was going to have a dream that he was going to come and kill me in Freddy Krueger, my number 7.
Yeah, I didn't.
Whoever created that bad guy is a demented person because you kept people from sleeping because you got them to think that that guy that you created in your little sick, heat-oppressed mind, that person was going to come get them in their dreams. You're a bad person too. Freddy Krueger is a bad guy, and he got a little too, I don't know, he kind of jumped the shark.
He got sillier later on. I think that guy who did create him was like, I better ease off a little bit.
Right?
But,
yeah. I mean, up to Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors was okay, but then after that, I was done with that. It was just dumb.
He's almost, it's like a joke at that point.
Yeah.
He was silly, right? He got sillier.
Yeah, silly. But that's my number 7, Freddy Krueger. Exactly.
Number 6.
All right, my number 6. I had a tough choice between choosing between two different characters from two different movies, but they're brothers. But I'm gonna have to go with the original one, and that's Hans Gruber from Die Hard.
Oh, yes.
Okay, his brother, what was his brother's name?
like-
Jeremy Irons. The other Gruber.
You like the first one better?
It's a tough call, right? I love Jeremy Irons' voice because that's mostly what you hear in the third one. You just hear his
like
voice.
that. I like that
But
one
Hans
better.
Gruber, I mean, as much as I like Bruce Willis and I like Die Hard, I think if Hans Gruber had not been in that movie, it would not have been as good, right?
Sure,
the
sure.
third movie, Samuel Jackson showed up and Bruce Willis, and there's all that stuff. But that first movie, Hans Gruber, he just slides in at the very beginning of the movie, and he's just there. He looks exasperated, angry, just all those different emotions. That movie is made by him. I mean, there's a lot of other, yay for Bruce Willis, but Hans Gruber, and you still remember how he died.
Yeah.
Just his, now I have a machine gun ho-ho, and the way he looks at that point in time. I really like that character. He had good henchmen, too.
That's a good one. It's a very good one.
All right, my number 6 is I'm actually going to use two different actors that played this to stand up for the actual villain himself. And the villain is the Joker. Now, the Joker is probably one of my favorite. I'm not really a DC guy at all. I'm much more involved with Marvel than I am DC. But Joker is the one character in the DC universe where I've like, yeah, that guy, not cool.
That guy is all right.
But that guy,
wanna hang out with
he's
that
the one
guy.
that keeps the story going, from time to time. But my favorite iteration, I guess.
Oh, the one that just came out. We saw that one.
No, not that one at
Juggalo
all.
Joker.
Notice I said two actors that have been the Joker.
Oh, Cesar.
First one,
who was it,
my
Cesar
favorite.
Romero or the...
My favorite
like
is Jack Nicholson's.
okay,
Really?
right,
Yeah.
right.
And then, of course, Heath Ledger did an amazing job as the Joker as well.
Okay.
So both of those guys. My favorite one is Jack Nicholson's because I think that's a little bit closer to. I guess it was, in my opinion, it was a good compromise between the 1950s Joker and the Dark Knight Joker.
Sure.
It was kind of in between there where he was kind of dark because he was the gangster, criminal guy, but he cracked a lot of jokes. He made it, there was a lot of scenes where you just like, he did that, but it was a really nasty thing that he just did.
Sure,
But
right,
it was
right.
still kind of, he did it in a comical way. So that's my favorite, but I got to give props to Heath Ledger for the job that he did with the Joker. But that's my number 6, the Joker.
My number 6 is the Warden from the Shawshank Redemption.
I want
And
to slap that guy.
that guy just...
You think I'm obtuse?
You just can't help but hate him. He's got that same oily thing about him where every time he comes on screen after you've had some time to sort of experience him a little bit in the movie, every time he's on screen you go, that you get that feeling. The guy is just a horrid person, and that's the thing I think that makes him a good villain, is that he doesn't have powers, he doesn't do anything he doesn't go out at night, and his villain that is his job. Like, he lives villainy,
Yeah, but he has that one moment where you hate him so very much.
Oh, no, he's got plenty of them, but there's that one moment where you're like, whoa, this is like stepping over the line. But he is a horrible person. I can only imagine him going home at night and being a villain as well. You know what I mean?
No, he's nice at home. He's like, hello, dear. How was work today? Had a guy killed.
So, the Warden from the Shawshank Redemption, great last scene as well in that one with that character. Love it.
Number 5.
All right, my number 5 is from a comic book and also more recently the movies. But that is the famous Nazi villain of Captain America, the Red Skull.
Really? Wow.
I really like him. I don't know. And I really like the actor that they got. I can't remember his name.
Hugh.
But same guy that did the Mr. Anderson in the Matrix.
Smith, yeah.
Mr. Smith in
Hugh.
the
I cannot
Matrix
remember
movies.
his name. All right, anyway.
I don't know. He was also Gandalf. Not Gandalf. Elrond in the Lord of the Rings movies. But anyway, I really like him as an actor, so maybe that heightened a little bit my liking of this villain. He's just been, I don't know, he was the perfect antithesis to Captain America. Because Captain America is, well, Captain America. And, I mean, Red Skull is like Captain Nazi, you know, and it's just Nazis are already bad, period. Anyway, and then to have
He's like Nazis.
and then I know exactly.
I'm worse than
Yeah,
them.
it's sort
He's
of
like
that. Yeah.
he's like an evil Nazi. So I mean, he's like,
It's like
the guys where
doubling down.
He's like the guy where the other Nazis are like, don't be like him. You know, that's really bad.
sure,
you know,
sure.
that's why he kind of made my list, because he's like the perfect antithesis to Captain America, or who Captain America was supposed
So
to
when
be.
two Nazis are arguing and one calls each other a Red Skull,
That's the ultimate.
That's
Yeah,
when the argument's over.
you're done. Yeah,
This is horrible.
that's,
Isn't me yet?
that stream gets
It's you.
shut down. Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Let's lighten it up a little bit, fellas, with a villain we can all get behind and love.
Oh no.
I'm talking about Immortan Joe from Mad Max Fury Road. I love Immortan Joe. Again, I tend to like those villains that have a certain charismatic quality to them.
Almost like they're on a stage.
Oh, sure, yeah, and they're typically, they speak well, typically, right? They know how to manipulate people. And this guy does that very well, but he lords that power over people in the movie. I also like that he understands the ideas of going into battle and all of that. He's got that mask that's useful, right? It helps him breathe or whatever, but then it has the horse teeth into it, which is like a battle headdress sort of thing, you know? And there's little known about him. There's more online, actually. You can go online and kind of read up a little bit about the character itself. But I love that it's a flawed character, right? He's like covered in whatever he's got, and he needs help for breathing and help to move and all these things. But I like that he's so just dark and evil and a go-getter, you know, in his villainy. And I like that. So, Immortan Joe, I thought made a pretty cool bad guy in Mad Max Fury Road. So that's my number 5.
My number 5 is from a book again. Charles Dickens made a lot of
reading, man.
Yeah, Charles Dickens made a lot of villains. Probably his most notable one is Scrooge, although I guess he turned into not a villain at the end of the story.
Anti-hero is the word that people like to use now.
That's true. But my favorite of the villains he has is Uriah Heep. Uriah Heep is from Great Expectations. David Copperfield. David Copperfield is one of my favorite books I've ever read. I really like it. It's a long story. They made a whole mini-series about it on BBC and such.
Okay.
Uriah Heep is just like this little clerk who's there at the beginning, and slowly over the series just gets more and more powered and tries to destroy David Copperfield's entire life and his family and everyone around him just by being...
What's he got against magic, man?
Uncultured swine.
Go read a book, you filth.
So anyhow, I
Mouth
really
breather.
like Uriah Heep, like standing in the background, standing in the shadows. You don't even think necessarily he's a villain. You're just more like he's that creeper. He comes across as a creeper
Sure,
at first,
sure,
but
sure.
at the end, you're like, oh, he's going to destroy everything. Of course, he doesn't. They take him down. But that's Uriah Heep.
Why will we
I
read
ain't
the
gonna
book
read the book now.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4 is from a book series that was also made into a movie, and it is a book of a trilogy of books called the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and that villain is Sauron / Nazgul. The reason I put them both together is because I think they're kind of working as one. The Nazgul were really the will of Sauron, I guess you could say. So, you know, don't shut up. And so they were doing his bidding. They were always looking for the ring. They were always doing all this kind of stuff. And they're just the ultimate creepiness to me. That scene where Frodo and Sam are like underneath the tree limbs and they're like hiding inside the tree limbs in the first one. And the Nazgul hops off his horse and he's like, and even the bugs and the worms are trying to get away from this thing. And it's just that feeling that it gives you. I hate that feeling. And I just, these are a top 10s, but these are the guys that I'm starting to really not like. And I think that's how you should, that should be your reaction to a villain.
Yeah.
If you're,
I like the villains, man.
You're different. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
different.
no, I'm like, these are the ones that I'm like, yeah!
I know, yeah.
Be a villain!
No, I mean, these are the guys that they're on-screen presence. You should walk away saying, "Man, I hate that guy. I hate those guys. They're so evil. They're so bad."
I guess so.
That's where I am with Sauron and the Nazgul, my number 4.
My number 4 is Gus the Chicken Man, or Gus Fringe or Fringhay.
Oh,
I'm
this
not
is
sure.
from Breaking Bad.
Yeah, it's from Breaking Bad. When you first meet the guy, you're not even sure who it is. Well, okay, I guess you know who it is because the actor's pretty famous, right? But he just shows up.
He's also famous for playing villains.
Yeah, that's true. But he's really mild-mannered. He's like an accountant kind of guy, like, "Sir, can I help you?" And he does it for a good chunk for a while, and you're like, this guy ain't a bad guy. Then he has someone killed. Like, boom. And slowly you realize, this guy is super evil. He like runs this really big empire, drug empire type thing, and the main character goes up against him, and he really underestimates him at first because of just how mild-mannered the guy is. And it's a really good battle.
You make it sound like Breaking Bad is like a superhero series.
No.
I know it's not, but it goes up against them. They have a great battle. What happens in
No,
this
they
show?
have a great battle, but they like trying to outwit each other and eventually and try to kill each other essentially through bombs and different situations.
I almost included a character that actor plays in a TV show called Revolution because of every episode I wanted to throttle that guy.
Right, because I don't
know who the guy is, but
it's
what else has he
Do
been
you know
in?
it?
Oh, yes.
What is it? Say it.
Oh, the actor's name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, not offhand, no.
It's Giancarlo, I believe. I forget his name. Esperanto or something to that effect. I don't know.
I don't know.
He's a very
We're not very
snaky
good at remembering
character.
actors' names.
No,
yet.
we aren't.
But he also speaks his lines very clearly, enunciates them. So we'll get back to the actor's name in a minute. Meanwhile, go.
Okay, we're on what here?
4.
Giancarlo Esposito.
I was close.
There you go.
I don't know who
Esperanza
that
is better. I like that.
Anyway, my number 4 is also someone that I find fascinating because of the way they speak as well, and that is James Spader in The Blacklist. Raymond Red Reddington is his character, and he is villainous enough that I felt okay putting him on the list here. He's kind of the anti-hero in some aspects, but he's certainly a villain in many aspects, and the character is the epitome of the guy that can talk his way out of anything. Have you seen the show The Blacklist?
I haven't seen far enough to know whether he's a villain or not, but I've seen him. He oozes oily.
Yes, he does.
I probably wouldn't call him a villain. He is
He's not a good man.
He is a former bad guy who is trying to make up for past.
Sure. But in
things.
many
He's still
ways,
pretty bad, even when
in
that.
many
I
ways,
got
he
that,
is a
yeah.
guy that has no, does not think twice about going, kill that person. Boom. Right?
True, but he's that guy in that series that knows all the bad people and is giving the good guys the lowdown on all the bad people.
Yeah, but isn't that so he
and
can be the only
knows
bad guy?
them because
because all the other bad guys are out to kill him. That's why.
It's a very fascinating series for sure, but he makes that show.
True. Yes.
I mean, his performance in it,
Correct.
that sort of like he can go from charming, oily to it's on in a second. He can turn on a dime, right? And that's what's fascinating. It's that he never seems like he's out of control.
Yeah.
Like he's always the one controlling the moment.
Right.
And that's scary.
He always walks around with a bodyguard, but he doesn't really
He never needs him. Yeah. So that is James Spader's character, Red is his name, from The Blacklist, my number 4.
Number 3.
Crossover finally with Sam on this one, although Sam was much more generalistic. I'm going to be very specific from the Terminator franchise, and I'm going to say the T-1000. All right, the T-800.
The police officer?
Yeah, from Terminator 2. Now, they've copied the T-1000 in every Terminator movie since. Because the first time that guy showed up, and you're like, oh, it's a Terminator, okay, fight him. And then he goes right through the prison bars, and you're like, oh!
Sure.
And he just keeps coming and coming, and they blow him up, and he comes back together, and it just, When that guy finally died, even at the end of the movie, I was like,
are you sure he's dead?
Is he really
I
dead?
think he's gone, right? and the guy who played him was really good at never changing expression, and the way he ran with the, he ran that.
Yeah, the creepy arm.
that opening sequence where he first shows up at the mall, and Arnold Schwarzenegger comes in and then blows him away, and there's a big hole, and it just goes, and then he keeps coming, and he's chasing him in a truck. Love that sequence.
Yeah.
He's another actor that every time I see him in the movie, I'm thinking that's the bad guy.
That's true. That's true.
Some of these bad guys, the actors are so good that when you see them in a movie, and they're a good guy, you're like, nah, that guy's got to be bad somehow.
Is it me? My number 3?
Yeah.
For me, my number 3 actor here from a film, of course, is my favorite. And I figured this out as I was putting this list together. My favorite bad guy actor. He only made the list once, but he was on the short list like 3-4 times. And this is Gary Oldman. And the one I happened to pick was the bad guy he plays in Air Force One.
Wow.
Russian character Ivan is his name in Air Force One. Because again, if you step to the left just a little bit, you can see his point of view. And it's a charismatic bad guy, right? It's a bad guy that isn't like old 007 bad guys what's their motivation? I want to blow up the world. Well, idiot, you live in the world, you know? You can't do that.
Right.
This guy has motivation. He sticks to it. He is by turns really evil and manipulative, and by turns like charming and soft, and you know what I mean? And it's just really captivating to watch him work. Gary Oldman, I mean. So my number 3, Gary Oldman's character Ivan in Air Force One, and at the end I'll mention a couple of other movies that he's the villain in that I think is pretty slamming too.
Okay. All right, my number 3 is, now, I did not read the comic books. I have only watched the TV show. And I know that there is a new villain coming up in this next season of this TV show that is supposed to put this villain to absolute shame as far as villainy is concerned. But the Governor, heretofore, is probably one of the worst villains I have ever come across. Ever, ever, ever. Now, we have already met Negan, and definitely not a nice guy. Oh, come on, you know.
You're never going to watch these shows. I don't know why you put your hands in your ears.
Don't make me do villainous things upon you. That's my
But
villain.
up until now, the Governor has just embodied just nasty, filthy, the absolute worst that you could possibly be in that kind of situation or post-apocalyptic circumstance. And so...
you said what this is from? Did you say Walking Dead, or I don't think you actually said that. That's
okay,
all.
No, not everyone has watched The Walking Dead.
I'm very sorry. I did say the Governor. I did say comic book. I did say TV show. I did say Negan. If you don't know we're talking about The Walking Dead, I apologize. Please crawl out from underneath your rock.
Maybe in their state, their governor is a villain, and so they were like,
How does he know?
that guy's pretty bad.
He's got
Yeah,
an
you're
eye
right. I hate
He's
him.
got
I
an
didn't
eye
vote for
patch.
him either.
How does he know?
But anyway, that's my number 3, the Governor from The Walking Dead.
Number 2.
All right, my number 2 and my number 1 actually have both been mentioned already. My number 2 is the T-1000.
Yeah, there's a triple crossover.
And the T-1000 again. It's the concept that you were talking about of this guy won't stop coming for you. Times 10.
Right.
Because you cannot see the damage. That's what's scary. You know, the T-800, when you blow off an arm or he has to cut out an eye or some crazy stuff, you're like, okay, he's kind of falling apart. That's got to be good, right? Not this guy. And there's that scary moment at the very end of the movie where they break him apart. He's like destroyed, and then he starts to melt and comes back, and he looks pristine.
Yeah,
he looks
perfect.
like brand new. That's terrifying. You know, it's like, dude, he's like, you know, Arnold's character's like all worn out. He's tired. Right? He's dirty. This dude looks like he just stepped out of the shower. You know, that's what makes him such a terrifying nemesis. And so the T-1000 for me, my number 2 from Terminator 2.
All right, my number 2 is going to be. I really struggle with putting my number 2 as number 1 and my number 1 as number 2, but I'll explain everything. My number 2 is definitely a villain, the villain that far outshines General Grievous in the Star Wars saga, and that is Darth Vader. Vader is...
I'm so surprised I'm put a Star Wars character on this list.
Shut up, you.
Quiet.
Darth Vader is... I mean, again, he chokes people because they didn't do a good job for... I mean, you came out of hyperspace too fast, choke, you're dead. You know...
World's worst boss.
And he uses that as leverage. You know, when he puts
Don't make me
Piet in
choke
charge, when he puts Piet in charge, then he's like telling you, you failed me once, don't fail me again, you know? And he holds this over people. He tries to kill his own son.
Whoa.
And
whoa.
we can't even... Yes. Shut up. He tries to kill his own son even though he knew it was his son. And he's the one that breaks the bad news to his son.
It's the dark side.
And then he tries to use his sister... I mean, his daughter against his brother. I mean, good night. This guy is horrible. Worst dad of the year, but a very, 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 very bad villain. Number 2, Darth Vader.
I was good for about a minute at the end.
That wiped away all the bad stuff you did.
Oh, it's fine.
You say worst dad of the year, but I might argue that there are many Game of Thrones characters that might compete for that award.
Again, I stopped out of that a long time ago.
All right, my number 2. No, I got to do my number 2. My number 2 is from a TV show that had an amazing first season and okay second season. It kind of fizzled out, but this character was bad all the way through. And his nickname was Teabag. Was Theater Baggins, right? Or something like that?
Well, hello, my sweet Southern Belle.
Yeah, this guy had...
I don't know who that is.
Okay, it's from Prison
Break.
All right, so Prison Break.
I never saw it.
In Prison Break, he goes to jail to rescue his brother, and there's a whole bunch of bad guys in jail.
Okay,
but this guy is the worst. This guy is a cultured Southern accent type thing, but when he was a kid, his dad would punish him by like throwing him in a basement, and the only thing he had was a dictionary. So he's really well versed, right?
Okay.
But so creepy. Every time you see him and someone else in the scene and they disappear, you're thinking there's like a 90% chance that person's dead.
Yep.
Right?
Wow.
And so he just walks around the prison the whole time, and the guy's trying to escape.
Is everybody else
like, what are you
aware
doing?
that he's like the worst guy in there?
Oh, yeah.
In the prison, he's not actually that bad. He's actually the...
That's where he gets his hold in my pocket from, is from that.
No, I get my hold in my pocket from
that's
him.
from
I thought
me,
that's where
yeah.
he got it.
Well, it's from that thing. Teabag has always made the guy, like, hold my pocket.
Yeah.
There's always like one kid walking around holding his pocket.
But when he gets out, it really hits the
Oh,
fan.
yeah. I mean, when he gets out, he handcuffs himself to the main character. He's like, gotta take me with you. And they're like, no, we don't. They grab a saw, right? And so they take his hand off, and you think, great, he's gone. No, he finds a doctor, makes a doctor, fixes, gives him some wooden hand, then kills the doctor, of course, and keeps on moving.
I mean, this guy's nasty. If this actor shows up in another TV show or another movie, my wife is like on the cusp of saying, I'm not watching that.
Yeah,
because
that's how
she
bad he is.
hates this guy.
Wow.
She hates this character.
I was surprised this guy wasn't on your list.
Well,
It's too scary.
I haven't watched that show, and he's just crazy. He's just
All right,
crazy.
so Teabag.
I haven't watched that show in a long time.
My number 2. All right, to the number 1s.
And finally, number 1.
All right, my number 1 is, as I said, has been mentioned. Do you guys know what this might be?
Hans Gruber?
Who's
No, but that was
whose
on my
list?
shirt. It was on your list. Actually, it was on both your lists, guys. So that should narrow it down.
both of our lists?
Wasn't it on your list? Maybe it wasn't on your
It was
list.
on his.
It's the Joker from
yeah.
Batman. Yeah.
No, the Joker
You did
made
not
my
mention-
short list.
Okay, you
he
didn't
did.
say it. Okay,
He did.
So the Joker. I'm specifically leaning towards Heath Ledger's Joker, though.
Yeah, you definitely like him.
I like his Joker a little bit more. I think the funny, silly Joker works, but I prefer my villains to be a little more serious, except Mr. Burns. I guess.
I was about
Well,
to pull out
Mr. Mr. Burns is very serious. He's only a comedy. He's only in a comedy to you, the viewer. He is not in a comedy in his own world.
True.
right? And that's what I'm talking about. The Joker would kind of be in his own comedy, psychotic comedy, but I like that the Joker in The Dark Knight is not quite in a comedy. He knows that.
Yeah.
So I like that one the best. So yeah,
Some
my
people
number
just
one.
wanna see the
and I kind of
world burn.
wavered between the T-1000 and the Joker, but I decided the Joker is number one because Heath
I
Ledger's.
really thought the Joker was going to be on his list.
Yeah,
especially
the Heath Ledger
Joker.
really knocked it out of the park. So that's why it's my number one.
Okay, my number one is...
Thank you.
Hey, delivery! Okay. What's in the box? Oh, how about... I don't think that's scary.
We'll put that down on the floor.
All right. My number one is from the show Lost, and that's Ben Linus. The show Lost, there's a whole lot of mystery. What's happening here? What's happening this?
What's in the island?
Right. But at the end of the very first season, they find this guy, and they're like, and he's like, I got off the plane too. And he's like acting like this scary as all get out. And they're trying to figure out, at one point, they disprove a point in his story, and you can see something in his eyes just change, and he just becomes such a villain. And the guy who plays him is such a great actor. I'm surprised he doesn't do more. I guess he's in that Person of Interest TV show. He's the guy who made the computer system. Yeah, but he was such a good bad guy. Every scene he's in, you feel like he's hiding something. Even when they'd have him down, they'd be beating him down and face bloody. And he's like, I'll tell you the truth. And then after you tell the truth, you're like, he still lied. I know he still lied.
Wow.
And
Weird. That's weird. I could.
See, you never saw him in Lost.
I can't see him as a villain.
Oh,
I can't see him as a villain because
one of the
he's
best villains of
he's
all
a really
time.
good guy in
Person of
Interest.
Yeah. So anyway, Ben Linus from Lost, my number one bad guy.
All right, my number one. Anybody can guess my number one?
Well, I was
Is
going to
it
get
something
Darth
from
Vader.
comic books?
No.
The Emperor?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Emperor.
Star Wars, man, come on.
And the reason I put the Emperor first is because Darth Vader got tricked into being the way he was.
He's soft.
No, I wouldn't say
Pretty
that.
dumb, actually, but
He was very dumb, yes. And I think part of that goes to
No.
who they got. No, that's stupid. Who they got to play him in the movie, I think, speaks more to being dumb.
okay, fair enough.
I think, the way Obi-Wan originally told it, he was deceived, he was tricked to be led down this path for certain reasons. And so I'll give him a little bit of leeway.
Well, also, he killed the Emperor, so I guess he makes him slightly better,
so he
right?
made back a little bit, yeah. So, but the Emperor, no. He killed his former master. He, tricked an entire Senate into plunging the galactic Senate into, the Imperium into world, a galactic-wide civil war. He did that on purpose. It's not like he just went along with the flow. No, he was the flow. And that war killed billions of people. He single-handedly programmed all of the clones to
I
take
don't think
out
he did
the
it
Jedi.
himself. Like, he didn't go like, listen, Order 66. Okay, next, listen, Order 66. I don't think he did it like
Go ahead,
personally.
hit him.
Bro, do you even clone?
I do have a question when you're done, actually, with your point here. Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. I'm done.
I'm curious, are we supposed to know in episodes 1, 2, and 3 that the Emperor of, like, the guy, whatever his name is,
Palpatine.
that Palpatine is the bad guy?
Yes.
His last name is Palpatine.
Yes, I know, but
Senator Palpatine.
But I will say, when I watched episode 1, I was like, there's got to be something more to this. It's not that
That's a
obvious.
known thing, right? From the very beginning of episode 1, you know that he is the bad guy.
Well, no, if you never saw the movies before and you watched episode 1.
But if you had, and the
There's
movies,
some
if
heavy
you
foreshadowing.
knew anything about Star Wars,
they're not hiding that fact, right?
No.
Because I always feel like, are they just doing a really bad job at hiding that, or is it not supposed to be hidden?
If you never saw
Okay.
these movies and you exist in a vacuum, you could technically not know he was a bad guy
No,
until
but
the
I'm
third episode.
assuming I saw the originals, then you know he's the bad guy from the moment he shows up and they say Palpatine.
I did.
Okay, me too, but I
well,
wanted
it's
to
the
make
same
sure
actor
that...
too, which, and I'll tell you, we argued for a long time. Like, is it
Ian
possible? There's
Ian McDermott. I
like he gets turned bad.
Okay,
right.
okay.
So
You have a short list. Well, look at all these names
I know,
you had.
man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I had that short list. Yeah, I had Ultron was on my short list. Oh, I was talking about Gary Oldman, though. Gary Oldman's bad guys, I like him from the Book of Eli. His bad guy is very good, very low-key, but a very good bad guy in that. I like his bad guy in The Fifth Element. Very,
I really like that one.
Very different from
You're
all
right.
the other bad guys. I like his bad guy in Leon the Professional. I like his bad guy in Dracula from Bram Stoker's Dracula. His Dracula in that movie is unbelievable.
Yeah, that was my least favorite Dracula show, though.
That movie?
Yeah.
I thought his Dracula was spectacular.
Maybe so.
All
But
right, what
anyway,
else we
so I
got?
really like him.
I got I had Dracula actually on my short
Just a
list.
character from the book.
Yeah, just Dracula by himself, I guess, not a specific actor.
Okay.
Then I also had Even Drago.
Sure, yeah, from Rocky, right.
Oh,
4.
I almost picked him
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Rocky 4. I mean,
He's
the
such a
guy
good
that
bad
kills
guy.
Apollo Creed and then stands there and says, "If he dies, he dies." Oh, I want to punch that dude in
I
his
would
perfect
break
little
you.
chin. Yeah, right.
I liked also my short list was from the movie Dredd, the Judge Dredd movie, just called Dredd. The villain in that is her name's Mama.
Yeah.
She's like the scarred up lady who runs the district or whatever,
Yeah,
that building.
she was
She
particularly
is
nasty
just
as well.
evil,
Yes,
man.
she is.
She is
That was
dark.
good. My short list, I'm at the Joker and the Borg were on my short list because when the Borg show up, you're like, oh man.
I want to assimilate you, man.
And it's like moving to another galaxy.
Now there's thousands and thousands of great villains. I'm sure we missed some, and someone will say, list invalidated because you didn't say whatever.
Yes,
so
yes.
tell us why our list is
The
invalidated.
shark in Jaws. That was another one that was on my short list.
Tell us in the comments what your favorite villains are, why we're right, why we're wrong, and yes, we know we missed a lot of actors' names. We apologize about that. We know them by their villains. That's how good they are. Right? All right, anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
Z Garcia, thank you, folks.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side.